Lantana, West Palm Beach, Jupiter, Hobe Sound. Then you get into Martin County and then St. Lucie County, and keeps going up there to Fort Pierce. And then actually our signal at times gets all the way up to Orlando because we have had people calling us from there. So in any event, we're 50,000 horsepower. Booming out to you, dealing with critical issues, national security issues, all things in opposition to President Obama. I can't, Mark, can you think of any place in which we agree with President Obama?
Well,
that's a good question. 888.
Hold on. Let me think.
While you're thinking, 888-565-1470. If anybody's out there and you can tell us, as good, solid conservatives, where we would agree with anything. Where were you? The show started. You're late. Dock his pay. Anywhere, anyhow, anything we as conservatives should agree with President Obama. Let me know, because I can't think of anything. But as you know, Trento Vision is on 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock East Coast time every day, weekdays. Though we will have a special, folks. Get your reminders out. You know what I did today?
What did you do today, Tom?
I talked to Suri here. I said, Suri, remind me to get a haircut on Thursday. And the thing goes, Tom, I'll remind you to get a haircut on Thursday.
Did she remind you?
It was well, Thursday's not here yet.
I thought you last Thursday.
Well, no. That was pretty cool. So get your little smartphone reminders or write down Saturday, February 2, 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock East Coast time to make it easy for you. 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock California time. And everybody in between, all you flyovers, you could figure out what time we're on the air. But we have a special show on Saturday, 5 o'clock East Coast time live. We will, Mark, tell them what we're going to be doing.
Well, what we're going to be doing is we're launching a great special. TeaPartyCommunity.com is a anti-Facebook, if you will. It is actually a place where people can come together who
get some more stuff ready and
of like-minded conservative values, and actually come on and join a community and discuss issues. And what we're trying to do, in this whole venture, partnering up with the Tea Party community, is actually get people motivated, involved, give them some hope and give them a place to rally around. Unlike Facebook, which is banning people who are conservative, we openly accept them, and we actually ban liberals from the
no liberals allowed. You're banned.
And it's a free, if they can ban them, so
but
can
they
we.
are allowed on Trento Vision. Any liberal that wants to call in and discuss the issues with us, you're more than welcome to do that. 888-565-1470. So we're going to launch Tea Party Community on.
It's going to be a great event, actually.
It's going to be very good. On Saturday, 5 o'clock, we have Jan Morgan, who's a internet sensation, very attractive woman, former news anchor, currently a Second Amendment enthusiast, and teaching women how to...
she actually goes on and takes on the jihadis, too.
She does. She's a tough lady.
She ain't messing around.
Well, she'll be in studio. She'll be sitting right here next to me. Then we have Ken Crow, who is a Tea Party activist extraordinaire, and Tanya Franklin. And for those of you in the conservative Tea Party movement, these are big names. And Wild Bill. Wild Bill will be Skyped in. Many people know Wild Bill. Two-shot, Mike.
And some other surprise guests.
And some other surprised guests. So that's what we have for Saturday. Today, our 3 hours today, the first hour we're going to deal with the situation of Israel and what's going on with the new elections. What just occurred in an event in Sarasota over about 3.5 hours from here on the central west coast of Florida, a bit north, about an hour and a half north of Naples, Florida. There was an event yesterday. We have our good friend Watchdog Swire on the phone right now. We'll bring him in a couple of minutes.
Oh, he's on right now. I didn't
Yeah.
Okay.
He's on with us. And we're also going to show you a repulsive video, folks. If you're driving in your automobile or you're listening on iHeartRadio, be sure this evening to go to Trento Vision. Let me explain this, though. We have a new website up, and all our archives are not placed in yet. We may have to pull this one down and put the other one up, maybe.
Well, we're beta testing this one right now, so.
But will they be able to see this video tonight if they go home? Is the beta going to test that well?
Yeah, we can have the archive up. Actually, you can pull it off. It'll be under the Ustream and on the United West YouTube page too. So
what about Trento Vision?
We'll have it up there.
Okay.
Slave driver.
We're going to make it as hard as we can for everybody.
Yeah.
I just got a text that says iHeartRadio is working greatly. So if you're driving in your automobile and you'd like to plug your iPhone into your system and get crystal clear digital audio, you can download the application iHeartRadio, go to South Florida, WNN, and then voila, you're listening to us. It's really that simple. So you can listen through iHeartRadio. You can go to WNNradio.com, the website for WNN, and play the player there. You can go to Trento Vision and watch the show, or you can just do sort of a connect with our mind and just understand as we communicate this stuff through the airwaves. Transcendentally. You can do it that way. We got all kinds of things going on. But somebody just did say iHeart is working great. But we're going to show you a repulsive video that is, you look at it and you get so angry and you say, how could there be peace in the Middle East? It's two Hasidic Jewish, Orthodox Jewish men walking in Jerusalem, most likely in the Arab quarter, the Arab section of the old city Jerusalem, being attacked by a group of Muslim youth with snowballs. And you'll see. We'll show that in a little bit. And we also have, as it relates to Israel, we have an ongoing debate with our very good friend Alan Bergstein, who was here Friday. As you remember, Alan was here exposing Rabbi David Steinhardt of a local synagogue. I forget the name of Beth Torah, I think. I don't want to say the wrong name. Local synagogue where Rabbi David Steinhardt is basically an Obama devotee and through his political leanings excluded Alan, a Zionist Jew, from going into a synagogue when Ambassador Susan Rice was there. We had that brouhaha on Friday of last week. Well, there's another brouhaha, brouhaha.
What's going on? That
Alan Bergstein is involved in. This is a tough guy from New York City that doesn't take any crap from anybody.
Right.
You know, he's now fighting another rabbi, Rabbi Bruce Warshall from South Florida. And I happen to be sort of in the middle of that a little bit, and we'll get into that material. That's the first hour.
So it's kind of like spy versus spy, rabbi versus rabbi.
Yeah, yeah. No, this is Alan Bergstein, Zionist versus rabbi. Okay. But when we lay out the facts of this, you're gonna take. Maybe you'll take the Rabbi Bruce Warshall's side, but I think you're going to take Alan Bergstein's side on this one, folks.
So let me get this straight. Alan Bergstein's going after two rabbis now?
Two rabbis. A rabbi a week, I think, for Alan Bergstein. You know, look, a rabbi means teacher. It does not mean you're any more special. And in fact, in the Christian context, I'm an evangelical Christian. Right. A pastor is an individual who has been called by the church to lead the church, like a pastor leads the sheep. Well, there's minimal educational requirements and all of this stuff, and you are viewed as a more ethically responsible, more individual that has to exhibit clear leadership qualities. And if you don't do that, unlike maybe in some other religious groups, in the Protestant side of things, you kick the guy out. You know, there's a board or whatever. Well, from what I understand, in the Jewish world, it's the same way.
Right.
If he's hired by the congregation, if he's not doing the job they want him to do, they fire him. So Alan goes after these guys and says, look, you're supposed to be a rabbi who is leading the flock through Hashem's direction, and you're on the other side as it comes to the jihad issue? No way. So Alan wrote this eviscerating piece.
And Alan's just picking a low-hanging fruit right now, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, well, these are big. These are big guys.
I'm talking about as far as the sentiment that's out there that's actually anti-Israel, that are rabbis. It's actually pretty shocking coming from a Unitarian perspective, just outside looking at it. It's really insane to me.
Well, but we did learn, Mark. I mean, what we're discussing right now on TrentoVision.tv at 3:14. What we did learn here. In the past election cycle is that many of the Jewish folks and rabbis in South Florida are total leftists. I mean, many of them couldn't care less about Israel. They're concerned about the Democrat Party, and Israel's a second. In fact, Israel is an obstruction to them enjoying their life in the United States because they're viewed as Jews and, you're part of the problem and all of this stuff. So we have a lot of leftist Jews. But let's go to a happy thing about Israel.
Happy thing. Okay, happy
We
thing.
have Dr. Rich Swire, a 24-year veteran from the U.S. Army, a Army Ranger. Retired there, then went into high technology business, and then we met way back, and he helped start the Florida Security Council, and he's part of the United West, our sister organization, and he's a dear friend, wonderful guy. Where were you yesterday, Dr. Rich Swire, the editor of Watchdog Wire? So we'll call you Watchdog Swire.
I have no idea. I'm too old to remember.
I forgot.
This is going to be a great interview. How you doing, Rich?
Who is this? I don't even know. I'm just I'm picking up my grandchildren from school right now,
and they're changing your diaper. So
they're changing my diaper, and everything is fine. They're in the back seat. We're going to take them home. No, I was at a. First of all, I'm not a ranger. I'm a paratrooper.
Oh, okay.
I never got to ranger school because I finished jump school and was waiting to go to ranger school, but I got called back to my division, the 101st Airborne, because President Johnson decided to deploy the 2nd and 3rd Brigade to Vietnam. So I ended up getting my ranger training in Vietnam.
Okay.
Anyway, Sunday, yes, it was a beautiful day in Sarasota. We're about 50 miles south of Tampa, and there was a wonderful event put on by the Sarasota Manatee Jewish Federation. It was Israel at 65 event. In other words, Israel this year is 65 years young. It's actually 2 years younger than I am, which is an amazing thing. And it was a fantastic event. It started about noon. I got there about 12:30, and the parking lot was full when I got there. There was a quarter of a mile line going each way to try to go into the arena to get there. It was packed. I'm going to guess there was somewhere between 7,000 and 10,000 people who made their way to the wonderful event. There were over 50 booths there, from different organizations, including Christians. And of course, I ran into my good friend and your good friend, Rabbi. What am I thinking? Howard Simon. I think you know him, Tom. Rabbi Simon.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah, and we ran into him and his beautiful wife, and I asked him. I said, "Where's the booth with the sacramental wine? Because I want to make sure I get some." And he laughed and laughed and laughed. But no, it was an amazingly heartwarming, beautiful event. There were young boys and girls singing and dancing, and I mean, it was just packed, and it was just heartwarming. If you would have been here, your heart would have been warmed as well.
Yeah, that's a federation, and the way the Jewish community. Mike, this keeps going on and off. Yes,
all on your end.
It's on. Keep going. You're fine.
Oh, it's not fine. There's no picture. Oh, here it comes back.
It's our downstream. Don't worry about it.
Should I shut it off?
Yeah, shut it off. No, he's talking. He's talking in his head.
Okay. Well, we have some new friends of mine that are tuning in today, and I told them how wonderful. They said we'll give you one chance. They said we're going to watch the show, and if it ain't any good, we're out of there.
Okay.
So we're trying to have. They're more like family. They're way beyond friends, and they're connected to this little thing. You know who you are out there. You know who you are. So they're watching for the first time today, and we're very happy about that. But yeah, the federations are an organizational system in the U.S. The way designed to just manage the Jewish education, Jewish religious education, Jewish political, and well, they don't get too involved in political stuff, but they bring politically minded people in. We've spoken extensively at the Sarasota Manatee Jewish Federation, have some very good friends there. In fact, Rich, you and I were there back at Cast Lead? No, what was the name of the first Operation Cast Lead? I think in end of 2008, right? 2009.
Yeah.
No, 2008, the end of 2008. And we went to a big event there. So Rich lives over there, works closely with them. Rich is a evangelical Catholic. I'm an evangelical Protestant, and we work with the Jewish Federation in Sarasota.
Mm-hmm.
Do stuff with those guys.
Yes, you do.
Just one big, happy interfaith world. Even though we disagree on theology on many things, we stand united with Israel and her right to defend herself in America. All right, Rich, what else do you have going on? Tell us about Watchdog Wire before we let you go. Watchdogwire.com.
Well, Watchdog Wire is doing great things. We're really expanding in the state of Florida. We have almost 20 writers, including, of course, some of your friends. We always post your YouTube videos, so that's very exciting. And we're very excited to have some of the United West folks writing for us, including Alan Corman. We're very fortunate that Alan West is still writing for us. Of course, he wrote for us when he was a congressman, and now that he's with PJ Media, he's agreed to post his wonderful thoughts on all things wonderful about what's going on in Washington. And so we're glad that Alan stuck with Watchdog Wire, and we're adding new people all the time who. Including one, Laura Rambo Lee, who just loves her AR-15 and will not release it, only from her cold, dead hand. So, and by the way, this is a growing issue that is really aggravating a lot of people. We have over 1 million people in the state of Florida who have concealed carry permits.
Right.
Wow.
That's not those who are armed. It's those that have concealed carry. And when you realize it's about 16 million people in the state, that's 1 in 16 man, woman, and child has a concealed carry permit. So, this is like, matter of fact, I understand from a good friend of mine, State Representative Ray Pilon, that there is going to be, it appears he's on the Judiciary Committee in the State House. It appears there's going to be some legislation that is going to be introduced that will try and block any attempts by the federal government to take away the gun rights of Floridians. So that's breaking news for you. And I got Emma and Ethan. Emma, say hi.
Hi.
Ethan, say hi. Hi, Emma and Ethan. Ethan is going to be 9 on February the 10th.
Wow. Happy birthday, Ethan.
Yeah, so he's going to be, we're going to be playing football and doing all kinds of cool stuff.
Excellent.
But I really appreciate you guys and everything you do. We love you. At Watchdog Wire, we love Trent, Tom, and Mark, and Alan, and CJ, and Michael, and the whole crew, and God bless everything you do.
All right, thank you very much. Dr. Richard Swire, editor of Watchdog Wire, and our dear friend. We'll see you. Have a good day with your grandchildren. Okay, that's Rich Swire. The synagogue before is B'nai Torah that I was talking about with Rabbi David Steiner. All right. Well, that was Rich giving us a little update as to what's going on over there.
I like the gun issues they stopped. You know what? This whole Obama gun issue is it's actually backfiring on him.
Well, hold the guns, because it's I got to go through some stuff here, and that'll be forever. That thing. Yeah, it is.
No, just
probably
in general,
will backfire.
Just backfiring him. All the backlash, all the gun purchases and everything.
But if you had a gun and you got in trouble, who would you go to if you needed a lawyer?
I don't know, Tom. I guess I would have to turn to someone that we really know and trust and think he's really a great lawyer, Peter Feynman, attorney at law, who's actually a fabulous person as far as the issues and his knowledge of Islam, and also just in general, he's just a really knowledgeable person, true conservative, and overall just really knowledgeable person. And if I was in trouble in the law, I'd actually go to him.
If you were in trouble, you'd go to Peter Feynman. Yeah, Peter is an author. He's written a couple of books. One entitled The Coming Nightmares, most recent book about how multiculturalism, losing the distinction of what it means to be an American, how that will, joined with the multicultural experiment of the Islamic jihadi joining with the leftist in America, will be the death knell of this great country. He just wrote that book. A couple of years ago, he wrote Wake Up America, so he understands the jihad. He's written extensively on that, Peter Feynman. He has been our lawyer for some cases we have been involved in, the Florida Security Council, formerly the United West, now formerly was the Florida Security Council. He represents many of our friends. So if you need a good lawyer, he's the elected official for the state of Florida, the national committeeman that goes to Washington, D.C. to represent the Republican Party here in Florida. So when we recommend as one of our sponsors, Peter Feynman, who's in Boynton Beach, Florida, can practice law anywhere in the state of Florida and a couple of other states. And if you need a lawyer in an area of expertise that he may not have, he will refer you to one. So Peter Feynman, Feynman Law. Did you put the address up there, Mike, on that? No. Okay. Well, Feynman, Feaman law.com. So you can check that out. And I'm going to send you this right now. Now, who am I sending it to? You?
Yes.
Your name.
Yes.
It goes in on that computer. Okay. I have to send Mike some stuff to show you this video. I'm sending it real far, about 3 feet, by email. And then he'll have all the stuff that we need today to make the show work. And monkeys will fly out of my butt. So, at 27 minutes past 3 o'clock on a beautiful 75-degree day. Mark, you got to fill in for CJ, so you got to do this spot here. 75 degrees inside the Beasley Broadcasting Company studio. But we don't have any room for anybody in here today. And you don't want to be in here for a couple of reasons today.
And outside the Beasley Broadcasting Studio, it is 34 degrees. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's New York.
Oh, it's New York.
That's New York. I'm looking at the wrong place here.
Too bad, New York.
Too bad, New York. Because it is 74 degrees here in the Beasley
It's
Broadcasting.
only 40 degrees warmer down here than in New York. But stay up there. We got enough people
Stay up there.
down here. Yeah, there's alligators in the streets.
Alligators, hurricanes.
Mike, traffic, what's going on with the traffic?
It's terrible.
Cars are driving by, so everything's looking good.
On Monday at 3:28 on the East Coast, cars are driving by. So we see that. All right, let's go. You know what? Let's show the video. You have it?
The one I just asked you to email me?
Yes.
Yes.
Let me check.
Okay, it's going to be an email.
Okay.
It's going to say TV January 28th, Monday. Hang on, Monday the 28th schedule. It's going to say that, and then it will. You have that one. If you open the little Excel spreadsheet,
Just came through.
Okay.
You know what's really amazing about that video, Tom? I watched it like 3 or 4 times. And it really takes you back to the 1930s. I mean, if you just look at it in a black and white type of setting, you wouldn't know the difference. It's just the harassment, the intimidation, the persecution of these people. You know, it was just amazing. And they tried to bring that out in the video some, but if you actually put your mind back to, you know, the 1930s inside the ghetto, or where the...
it's not there. I got to send you something else.
I have the Bill Ayers video.
Yeah, no. That's for later. This is the one I actually sent it the other day to you, but let me go find it.
Okay, but no, I was just
explain it.
Yeah, just watching the video,
set it up.
You know, in and of itself, because it's mainly video. It's not really any audio, and so the listeners will need to know, you know, what the context of it is. What was happening was they weren't even older Jewish men. There was a young Jewish man and a little bit older Jewish man. They were, you know, in full dress. They had the hats, the long beards, and the black coats, and they were obviously Jewish. And they were just simply walking down the street, and all of a sudden, these Arab boys and older, not even just boys, you know, there's youth and older people all standing around, and they just started pelting them with snowballs, like in directly in their faces, and just taunting and intimidating them. And the Jewish people, the two older Jewish men were just, you know, walking away, just trying to get away. And then the harassment just started getting more and more and more. And it was that typical everyday harassment that nobody really ever talks about. I think that's the most disturbing thing, because it's not some... Yes, the Holocaust was horrible. The Holocaust was horrific in many ways, but it was just... But what people really don't talk about is just the daily, everyday, just harassment of just you being Jewish. That's horrendous. You know, almost like being a black person in the South and you just being harassed for just being, you know, a black person as you walk down the street. It's really that disturbing, because those daily, those everyday things are what kill the quality of life, or what kill, you know, the individual spirit. And it's just very disturbing in so many ways.
It is very disturbing, and the way we put this together for our viewers today, at 31 minutes past 3 o'clock, is we brought on Rich Swire to give you a little bit of good news about what's going on in Florida with the 65th, it's on its way, 65th anniversary of Israel. And the anniversary date is, on our calendar, it's different on the Jewish calendar, May 14th, 2013, because it was May 14th, 1948, when the United Nations designated Israel as an independent state. And so you should have that, Mike. So it's the 65th anniversary, which is pretty amazing. 65th anniversary of a country that's 4,000 years old. Figure that out. But we brought on Rich Swire to give you a little bit of good news coming out of part of Florida. We're going to show you this video, which is very bad news. And as Mark was just doing, I'll sort of give you a running commentary for those of you driving in your automobile, or listening on iHeartRadio or WNN Radio. But we're juxtaposing the different guests and different media today to show you an interesting tapestry of a deadly form of thinking within the Jewish community here in South Florida, here in the United States, as illustrated by our friend Alan Bergstein in a letter that he published today. So that's where we're going with this right now. Are we queued up?
Just getting it right now.
Okay, you're going to hear some music. Just play the music, Lowly. Actually, the music is the soundtrack from Schindler's List.
Oh, is it? I didn't know that.
Yeah. And this occurred a few days ago in Jerusalem. My guess is it was the Muslim Quarter.
Well, it looked like it was right outside Jerusalem.
It was in Jerusalem. You mean the old city?
Yeah, I mean, yes.
Yeah, it did. It looked like it was right outside of there. Probably in the Muslim part.
Yeah.
Because I don't know you're going to get away with that, you know, with all the stuff we saw, the CCTV cameras. Okay, here we go. This is Schindler's List music. Yeah, so it's up to us, this says at the end, to make sure the world sees the truth. Let's see, somebody put their name on this. Did you notice a producer's name?
No, I did not.
Let's see. So for you, those of you driving in your car, you can go once and for all. You can, we may soon have true peace in all four corners of the world. This is the graphic words written out toward the end of this very repulsive piece. Please share this video on Facebook and Twitter. I think that's all it says. And essentially, you watched two very innocent, very naive, defenseless Jewish men being attacked by a group of about 10 or 12 Arab men, and certainly it was assault and battery in the United States. I'm sure it was in Israel. And I don't know if the police are pursuing this or not, but I think Mark's point is well taken, that this is a foundational attitude that exists right now in the Arab world toward Jews. But the problem is,
and this is not the leadership either. This is the average people in the street.
Sure,
that's the important thing.
Problem is, it's always existed in the Arab world, and that's part of what we do here on Trento Vision. We get behind the rhetoric, we get behind the soft sell, we get behind the nonsense of Islam being a religion of peace. All of that. There's a lethality in Islam which finds itself rooted in the legal system. It's a lethal legal system called the Sharia. And if you know, I am one of the authors of Sharia, the Threat to America. A group of us, 19 national security experts, analysts, got together and wrote a book that said Sharia is the threat to America. And if you look at the Sharia, you see that ingrained in the legal system of Islam is a mandated, necessary for all time hatred that Muslims must hold doctrinally toward Jews. Listen to this. This is out of the Al-Qaeda Reader. Now we're taking all of you out there listening on the radio and watching on Trento Vision. We're doing a little bit of a deep dive into Islam 101 to help you understand geopolitically why there will never be peace in the Middle East. Never will there be peace in Israel. It is impossible. Therefore, if it is factually impossible that peace could exist in Israel, why waste billions of dollars and years of time constructing a phony baloney policy, geopolitical policy, a foreign policy around a substructure that is not true? Why not face facts, deal with the real facts on the grounds, and develop your policy, your foreign policy, and your homeland policy based upon what is true? What is true? The doctrinal position of Islam as it relates to Jews is what is true. Now, we can make believe that, maybe Muslims won't follow the doctrines that they believe, and some won't. But those who will, like the Hamas, which runs the Gaza, it's not allowed to have peace with Jewish people. Listen to this. This is out of the Al-Qaeda Reader. And a friend of ours, Raymond Ibrahim, translated some of the writings of Osama bin Laden and Ayman al-Zawahiri and other leading analyst scholars in Islam, and Ayman al-Zawahiri is a leading thinker in the Islamic world. And I'm going to tell you what this says right here. Listen to this. All right, we're looking at a doctrine called Walla Bara. Walla Bara. Let's see. The following treatise was written by Ayman al-Zawahiri, and it portrays a world divided into two warring camps, Muslims and the rest. Ayman al-Zawahiri, he's the physician who mentored basically Osama bin Laden. He's the Egyptian. He was in Egyptian jail. And he's a Muslim brother, Ayman al-Zawahiri. He's hidden somewhere right now in hiding, probably Pakistan, our lovely friend in Pakistan. But he wrote an article, a lengthy treatise, and he says the world is divided into two camps, Muslims and the rest. The Arabic words rendered here as loyalty and enmity. Enmity, very, very important. Wala, loyalty, bara, enmity. Those are two Arabic words. They can be variously translated, but always a dichotomy exists. So what Ayman al-Zawahiri, who heads up Al-Qaeda now, and Al-Qaeda has now taken over the Northern Africa, the Maghreb in Northern Africa, taken over Tunisia, essentially, taken over Libya, taking over Egypt, taking over Algeria, taking over Mali. Al-Qaeda and the Brotherhood, Muslim Brotherhood, are working together. This is their doctrine. The Hamas and even Hezbollah believe all of this too. And the doctrine of Islam says that there must always be a wall of war between Muslims and non-Muslims, in particular Jewish people. And enmity, loyalty and enmity. What are you going to say, Mark?
And where they get that, they didn't just make it up. That's not them making it up. They get that straight from the Quran. Because
here, I'll read it to you.
It says, O ye who believe, take not the Jews and Christians for your friends. They are friends to another. And whoso among you takes them for friends is indeed one of them. Vilify them. Allah guide you, not the unjust people. I mean, Muhammad comes right out and says, don't take the Jews as your friends. And that's what they're all basing this on, this hatred of Jews. It is, Muhammad's ways and actions.
Well, listen to this. This is Ayman al-Zawahiri. He's writing a commentary on those verses. Mm-hmm. So he's helping Muslims. He's helping those little bad guys who were throwing snowballs at those Jews. He's helping them understand how to treat Jewish people. That's what's happening right now. What are we doing here? On Trento Vision at 44 minutes past 3 o'clock, we're trying to explain what the hell is going on in the Middle East, why Israel needs to be in a position to defend itself, and why, when the time comes in the near future and Israel needs the assistance of the United States, and Chuck Hagel, all of this is making sense, folks. Chuck Hagel is the Secretary of Defense, and John Kerry, the Frenchman, is the Secretary of State, and Valerie Jarrett, President Obama's brain, who was born in Iran, and the whole flock of brigands and desperados, when they say at a particular point, oh, Israel's just exceeding its sovereign capability and violating the rules of humanity and certainly the rules of the United Nations, when you hear that baloney in a couple of months, we're preparing America to stand strong for Israel at that point, because the doctrine says, listen, the teaching of Islam says, enmity, anger, hatred toward infidels, especially Jewish people, translates bara, since Al-Qaeda insists that the basic relationship between the infidel, Jewish and Christian, and Muslims is described by the Quranic verse. This is their key verse from which they get this warring attitude of hatred toward Jews. You have a good example, Allah talking to the reader. You have a good example in Abraham and those who followed him. For they said to their people, we disown you. This is Abraham speaking to his people. We disown you and the idols that you worship besides Allah. We renounce you. Enmity, which is this anger and hatred, and hate shall reign between us and you until you believe in Allah alone. So the example that, the Quranic example, why Muslims must hate Jews. If you want to be a good Muslim, you've got to follow the example of Abraham, who said, all of those people that do not believe in Allah, and Jews do not believe in Allah, there's going to be enmity forever toward them. Then it goes on, hang on, the verse you read, Mark, O you who believe, do not take the Jews or Christians, it's expanded to Christians, for your friends and protectors. They are friends and protectors of each other. So the leaders of Islam are teaching the Muslim Arabs in Jerusalem to throw snowballs in the face of the defenseless religious Jews, because And he goes on to say, they are protectors of each other. Whoever among you takes them for a friend, surely he is one of them. You could never befriend a Christian or a Jew, the Quran is saying here. You shall find none who believe in Allah in the last days on friendly terms with those who oppose Allah and his messengers. So if you believe in Allah and the last days, the eschatological system of Islam, then you could never be a friend of a Jew or a Christian. And then your verse, Mark. Neither the Jews nor the Christians will ever approve of you until you follow their ways. Aside from these divine verses, are more like them, and it goes on and on and on.
Now that's our side. What we say is the truth. Now, what you're going to hear, because we've dealt with a lot of these knuckleheads all over the place, and we go in and we debate them all the time and try to hear what their reaction is. Now, what they typically say in response to this,
in response to these verses,
and
their doctrine, in response to their doctrine.
Oh no! That was a different time back then. That's when the Muslims were at war with the Jews. So therefore, if they're at war with the Jews, yes, of course he's going to say go out there and kill them, because don't make them your friends, because you're at war with the Jews. Now, but we're not at war with the Jews anymore.
Oh, okay. Tell the Jews that. Tell the Jews that.
Now, what everybody keeps forgetting, and that this is Christians too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
This
absolutely.
is Christians too. I mean, as much as you don't want to believe it, Christians and Jews are both in the same boat in the eyes of Al Qaeda and everybody else down the line, all the way down to the leadership in America, who are the Muslim Brotherhood. Where we're going with this is that they all believe they're at war with us. So this verse actually really does apply in context of what they're doing.
Completely applies. So the bottom line, folks, particularly when we're dealing with the leadership, now let me qualify this. Is every Muslim in the world and every Muslim in America, do they all want to follow this? No. It's critically important to understand doctrine versus behavior. As many of you know, I'm trained as a Christian theologian. And there's Christian theology and there's Christian behavior. If your behavior follows Christian theology, then you're moving in the right direction toward a relationship with God in the Christian world.
Right.
And it holds true in the Islamic world too. Right. If your behavior follows the doctrine, then you're living a good life as a Muslim. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the doctrines of Islam are repulsive to Muslims in the West who say, I got some Jewish friends. Why should I hate them? So they have to live a incongruous life, a bifurcated life. The doctrine teaches that they should and must hate Jews. Christianity does not teach that. It says, love your enemy. Go find in the Quran a verse that says, love your neighbor as yourself, and love even your enemy. Go find that verse.
This is what they say. They actually come out and they say, it may that will bring, verse 60.8, it may be that Allah will bring about love between you and those with whom you are now at enmity. And Allah is more powerful, Allah is most forgiving and merciful. However, that verse was completely abrogated by the later verses.
Oh, how that works like that.
Now, so I just want you, when you're in discussion or debate with these people or talking with them, and they start throwing out these early verses in the Quran, those were all abrogated. And
abrogated, what Mark's talking about is part of the Quran. See, this is why you need us,
right.
Okay? And if you want to make a donation to TrentoVision.tv to keep this wonderful information flowing, you can do that on TrentoVision.tv. Even though our website, it's a brand new beta test, all the bells and whistles aren't there yet. You can't expand the window to the full size. For those of you trying to do that and it's driving you crazy, you can't expand the window to the full size. We apologize for that. We'll fix that. But the donate button works extremely well. And what Mark is saying is the Quran was essentially written in two phases, phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 had a lot of lovey-dovey talk, and phase 2 transitioned to enmity, war, ongoing war, hostility, battle, with everyone who did not believe in Allah.
And scholars have said that happens for a reason in milestones. And that's, in fact, a famous person, Sayyid Qutb, wrote a book, How the Quran is Written Exactly the Way to Lead People to Islam, which is jihad. He says you must do it in milestones. And so you give them the little PC lovey thing at first and get them on your side, and then you whack them over the head. And
it's a bait and switch is what it is. You use the lovey-dovey early verses, which no longer apply, according to the Islamic scholars. You use those to kind of bait somebody in, and then you switch later on. But our point right here is that the explanation of all of this, and the explanation as to how it's essential to understand the doctrine of Islam as the teachers are teaching it,
right,
which is the pure Islam. And I can't. It's necessary. I'm pushing the clock here. It's necessary to develop a geopolitic foreign policy in the United States as it relates to Israel. That's where we're going with all this. We're teaching you some heavy-duty stuff, but we'll have some fun to do it.
And actually, these scholars who teach Islam, like the Qutubs and everybody else, I actually agree with them. I said, yeah, you guys are absolutely right. That's exactly what Islam is. You really, years of people have, the overwhelming preponderance of evidence of what they are saying, you're saying, okay, yeah, I got to agree with you,
Well, listen to this now. Now, okay, we laid the groundwork. This is a 3-hour show, folks. So we laid the groundwork for you to understand the next debate. We're gonna bring two people. We're gonna explain the views of two people. One, a Boca Raton rabbi, who essentially takes the position of Islam in many respects, and then a Boca Raton Zionist activist, Alan Bergstein, who takes the position of a Zionist Jew. And they're at odds, and they both wrote 2 articles, but with our little background explanation, and the takeaway from what we just explained is very simple. It is mandated by Islamic law, the Quran, the Sunnah, the Hadith, all this stuff put together. The mandate, the obligation is for the true believing Muslim to hate the Jew all times forever, until the Jew converts to Islam. If he does that, then he becomes part of the Ummah, part of the family.
As much as any Nazi, as much as any KKK person, as worse as you can actually imagine it, that is the doctrine.
Yep, I know. Now, it'd be very easy for somebody to refute what we're saying if it wasn't true. Just say, are people crazy? And then we'd say, well, let's open your books. Yeah, let's open your books and see what it says. And then we'll see who's crazy.
Let's look toward your leaders. What are they telling you? And let's look to your experts in Islam. What are they telling you? And let's do
listen to
in-depth analysis,
This was written on January 23rd by Rabbi Bruce Warshall. 3 weeks ago, a Muslim man was pushed from behind onto the tracks of an incoming New York subway, meeting instant death. Perpetrator was apprehended and declared, I hate Muslims and Hindus ever since 2001 when they put down the Twin Towers. I've been beating them up. So he starts out his story with that. This is a rabbi here in Boca Raton. This is just one instance of violence and harassment against Muslims in America, among many this past year. And the title for this article is A Jewish Problem, Anti-Muslim Hate Mongers. So Rabbi Bruce Warshall is condemning Jews for being anti-Muslim hate mongers, and he goes on to name some of the Jews he condemns. Pamela Geller, Steve Emerson, David Horowitz, and Robert Spencer. Just 4 of the ones that he names, and they're all people we work with, 4 of the ones that he names are Jewish people who are anti-Muslim hate mongers. We're going to take a real close look into that. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Tom Trento, Trento Vision, WNN 1470.
I'm sure he thinks this is hate speech, too.
Oh.
Download the iRadio Now app for iPhone or Android phones. Free at your iPhone App Store or Android App Market. Take AM 1470 WWNN with you wherever you go.
Are you thinking about getting your GED diploma? Well, here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we've got a number of pep talks that can motivate you.
Sometimes things don't always turn out the way you want them to.
You know that feeling? People look at you and don't believe in you.
You want some gentle encouragement.
Then you're on your way to your GED diploma and a better life.
But I know they're probably just a little bit nervous. You can find it in yourself to take that first step.
You can improve your future. You can do this. I know you can.
You need to start pushing yourself.
Now get your game face on and take the first step towards a better life. Hurry up. Don't make me repeat myself.
Whatever level of motivation you need to get your GED diploma, we've got a pep talk that's right for you. Call 1-877-38-YOUR-GED or visit yourged.org for your pep talk and find free GED classes in your area. GED is a registered trademark of the American Council on Education. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
I'll never forget that moment.
Never forget that moment.
As long as I live.
As long as I live.
It started with a phone call.
I got the text when I was at work.
My first call-up ever as a member of the National Guard. This was it, the real deal.
When we got to the armory, they briefed us on the wildfires, how they were getting dangerously close to homes.
It was amazing to be a part of this massive operation. Helicopters were going up with huge buckets to drop water on the fires. Some of the guys in the unit were preparing for firefighting with local fire crews.
We went out in Humvees to help with the evacuations.
At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com. Discover what it means to be a citizen soldier, to serve locally as well as globally. Look into the benefits, including career skills and money for college. Take a moment. Go to NationalGuard.com today.
Sponsored by the Florida National Guard. Aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Live in concert, it's the big band experience of Denver and the Mile High Orchestra.
One time, one big break, one dream, one little faith.
A little funk, a lot of swing. Denver and the Mile High Orchestra will put some sizzle in your soul. You'll be tapping your toes all the way back to the 30s when the Cool Cats of Denver and the incomparable Mile High Orchestra take the stage by storm.
And that stage will be the Wellington Amphitheater, Saturday, February 9th at 7 p.m. Join Denver and the Mile High Orchestra as they debut their latest project, Mile High Hymns. Again, that's Saturday, February 9th at 7 p.m., the Wellington Amphitheater. For tickets, call 561-793-5670, 561-793-5670, or online at fbcwellington.com.
Don't miss your opportunity to see Denver and the Mile High Orchestra.
This is Health and Wealth Radio, AM 1470, WWNN Pompano Beach, and WKIS HD3, Boca Raton, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
IRN USA Radio News, I'm Hope Duggar. President Obama is looking for help from police chiefs and sheriffs, particularly the ones in communities that have seen gun violence, as he tries to get Congress to pass tough new gun legislation. At a meeting with police chiefs, including those from Newtown, Connecticut and Aurora, Colorado, Obama said it's not just the, quote, high-profile mass shootings that are of concern, but also what happens every day on the streets of American cities. Los Angeles is planning a crackdown on maternity tourism. Authorities say women from Asia are coming to the U.S. to give birth so that their children will be U.S. citizens. They pay thousands to stay in homes that have been illegally converted to boarding facilities. The Los Angeles Times says residents who live near those homes have filed 60 complaints in the last month alone. A Virginia college student accused of falsely reporting a gunman on campus is facing federal charges. Police say Bryant Hairston called 911 last week and reported that he had seen a gunman on campus at the University of Virginia at Wise. The call prompted university officials to place the school on lockdown. This is IRN USA Radio News.
I will never forget the day my son Jeremy told me he hated me and slammed the door in my face. I'm behavioral therapist Janet Lehman. Behavior problems can turn the child you love and your life into a nightmare. That's why my husband James and I created the Total Transformation, the step-by-step program that shows you how to fix the worst behavior problems and get your child to respect and listen to you again. No matter what the behavior, defiance, backtalk, angry outbursts, disrespect, we can help you stop it. Now you can get the Total Transformation for free. All you need to do is get the program and let us know how it works for you. You can keep it forever for free.
Limited number of free programs available. Call now. 1-800-893-4392. 1-800-893-4392. That's 1-800-893-4392. 1-800-893-4392.
The governor of Illinois has signed a measure into law that allows illegal immigrants to obtain a visitor's driver's license.
Supporters of the measure are saying that this will make Illinois roads safer. Instead of having undocumented immigrants living in the shadows and maybe driving without any type of registration or any type of documentation, now we'll know who they are.
Correspondent Michelle Neely reports there is opposition to the idea of granting temporary driver's licenses to illegal immigrants.
Opponents are saying enough is enough. These people are here illegally as it is. Why would we create another avenue for them to be able to thrive without having gone through the proper process?
Senator Bob Casey of Pennsylvania wants the government to expand a pilot program designed to stop criminals from stealing people's Social Security checks. Casey says the program has screened out dozens of people convicted of fraud and violence. It was launched last summer in 5 states and Washington, D.C. after a convicted killer allegedly had several mentally disabled people captive and cashed their benefit checks. For the latest news and analysis, log on to IRNUSAnews.com.
With over 900,000 products and 31 diverse product categories, Grainger is basically an anything you need supply buffet. We've got everything from safety and electrical products to hardware, hand tools, and more, so you can efficiently purchase exactly what you need from one source, saving time and trouble. And just to be sure, the buffet thing was a metaphor. Please don't eat the stuff. Buy your supplies smarter. Just call, click Grainger.com, or stop by a branch today. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The first soldier to survive after losing all 4 limbs in the Iraq War has received a double arm transplant. His father says Brendan Morocco had the operation last month in Baltimore. He was injured by a roadside bomb in 2009. The doctor who led the surgery team says it will take more than a year to know how fully Morocco will be able to use the new arms. Abuse of the elderly is growing as communities look for ways to protect seniors from harm. Correspondent Diane Kepley has more.
It's estimated that 2 million seniors are being abused, exploited, or neglected every year, but the number could actually be much higher. There's research indicating as many as 1 in 10 have suffered some form of abuse at least once. The Obama administration has increased its focus on protecting seniors by establishing a National Resource Center and a Consumer Protection Office. Experts on abuse say there's a need to raise public awareness about the issue and to train police, lawyers, and others to recognize signs of abuse. Some communities have set up shelters similar to those for domestic abuse victims. I'm Diane Kepley.
General Motors is investing in a $600 million upgrade at its assembly plant in Kansas City, Kansas. The automaker said Monday it will start construction this year on a 450,000 square foot paint shop, a new stamping press, and other improvements at the Fairfax assembly plant. GM CEO Dan Ackerson says the investment is, quote, a vote of confidence in the Fairfax plant, where the company has produced more than 12 million vehicles since 1945. GM announced earlier this month it planned to invest $1.5 billion in its North American facilities in 2013. With IRN U.S.
Here's some great news from Tom Trento, host of the daily WNN Trento Vision Show. Due to the unparalleled success of the Trento Vision Show, you now have an amazing opportunity to advertise on the Trento Vision Show. If you want more information about this excellent opportunity for your business, please contact Tom Trento at 561-319-5533, or you can email him, tom@trentovision.tv. The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Trento Vision is hosted by Tom Trento. Tom can be reached at 561-319-5533 or tom@trentovision.tv. Listen and watch every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN and trentovision.tv. Now, let's get a peek at Tom's view of the world. Here's Tom Trento.
Okay, we're back. Here I am, Tom Trento. 6 minutes past 4 o'clock in Boca Raton, Florida, where it's 76 degrees inside our studio and 97 outside. No, it's not 97. What is it outside? It's probably 75, 76. It's a beautiful day, nice 60s at night, no rain, dry, just a perfect place to be.
The exposure on that just a little bit. Okay.
So Mark is working out some technical things in the background. Mike is here. CJ is on a mission. Okay. Not with us today, but
all right, I'll talk to you later, man. Bye.
But we're all here. We're back now. We got to get the technical stuff. We have tech guys watching things, and we're getting input and all of that.
Well, I was talking with our Tea Party community sponsor, teapartycommunity.com, who we're going to be doing a live show on Friday from 5 to 7 p.m.
February
Eastern
2.
Standard Time.
February 2nd.
February 2nd on a Saturday. So we'll be having a special broadcast for the teapartycommunity.com, and it's going to be an exciting, exciting show. We're just we're really pumped up about it.
We're going to launch a community right now. It's almost 50,000 people.
How many? How many times?
50,000.
50,000.
That's more than, that's about half the size of Boca Raton, something like that.
Now, what's interesting is it only was supposed to be like a beta test for like 2,000 or 3,000 people.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just taken off all on its own, and it's incredible.
We'll explain through the week what a community is, but the world is changing, folks, and if you have an iPhone and you're over 40, you remember that you were carrying these gigantic things around when cell phones first came out, with boxes and batteries, and you had to do all of this. And just 20 short years or so, this little device has changed the way the world functions. Well, in the same digital sense, whereas a community used to be a geographic location, now it's simply a digital location. And 50,000 people over the past couple of months have come together who have a unified and similar view of the problem with President Obama, that he's a leftist, he's a socialist, and more people are talking about him being a doctrinaire, a Marxist. I call him a doctrinaire Marxist. That means he's not a card-carrying member of any communist party.
Well, actually, he is.
But yeah, he probably is.
Actually, he is.
But when push comes to shove, if you pushed him on what political systems best bring the most amount of equality to all people, he will lay out the little red book, Mao's little red book. I mean, he'll lay out the manifesto. Why do we know that? Because we know quite a bit about the way he thinks and the way he lives and breathes. But he can't govern as a Marxist, because he wouldn't get any. He's a realist. He realizes that with a majority Republican House, even though half of them are rhinos, Republican in name only, he realized that he can't lay out his exact program. He's got to try to get as much as he can and try to do it in such a way that he doesn't shut down the door to accomplishing moving this country to the left as much as he can. Well, this community, Tea Party community, that's fed up with the size of the federal government, the increase in taxes, the intrusion of the government in our lives, this community came together and they contacted us, Trento Vision here, and said, look, we like what you guys do. We'd like to launch our community, Tea Party community, that's the name of it. Tell the world about it through your show on a special, and we're doing that this coming Saturday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. East Coast time. And as I said, we'll have several well-known activists within the conservative/Tea Party movement, including Jan Morgan. Go Google Jan Morgan/Tea Party. You'll see quite a bit about her. Wild Bill for America, good friend of ours. He'll be on. Ken Crow, Tanya Franklin, Tim Saletti, our webmaster, is the master behind this whole thing. And you can go to teapartycommunity.com to check it out. We ask you to do that. When you go there, you're going to go, this looks like Facebook. Well, yes, it does. But it's going to be it is a lot better. And there's no leftists going, what's Trento saying in Boca Raton right now? He can't write that on that thing. The only people that get censored are leftists on Tea Party Community, okay? Everybody else, I think there's 3 items they said, Mark. No pornography, no declaring, the overthrow of the United States government.
Right.
And no cursing and all of that. Other than that, it's a freewheeling community of conservative thought, and we will launch it. And then the cool part is, once it's launched, those 50,000 people, when you go to Tea Party Community starting the following Monday, which would be the day after Super Bowl, the 4th, we will be positioned somewhere either on the homepage or on a associated page. The show will pop up 3 o'clock. Actually, we'll be starting around noon, I believe. Around noon, East Coast time. What is that? Around noon. Oh, it's Mark. Yeah, shut the way. We'll be starting around noon on Monday the 4th with a series of shows that will air on Tea Party Community. Our show will come on 3 to 6 East Coast time. So you can watch it on Trento Vision, or you can watch it on Tea Party Community.
And for your donors out there, there's something really exciting coming on in the near future. We're going to take this up. We're going to take this up to the next level. We're going to really pump this up to where it should be and have a nice professional video broadcast of this whole thing, and that's all. That just takes us time and money.
Donate securely. Trento Vision.
I tell you what, the stuff that I'm working on right now will blow you away as far as what we're getting ready to do. But it's just taking time and money. But I will disagree with you on one point, Tom.
Okay, sure.
You said that he is a doctrinaire Marxist. I say he's actually a card-carrying Marxist and socialist.
Card-carrying Muslim.
Well, no, Marxist, because he actually signed in the minutes of the meeting on January 11, 1996, of the new party Chicago chapter, read as follows. This is
I didn't know what I was signing.
Now, hold on. The new party is a completely. They state that they are a socialist party, and in its meetings it says Barack Obama, candidate for state senate in the 13th legislative district, gave a statement to the membership and answered questions. He signed the new party's candidate contract and requested an endorsement from the new party. He also joined a new party.
You should have sent that to Mike. He could have put that
he says, and then he says, the chapter of the new party from the early 1970s lists Obama as a member with the 11 January 1996 indicated as a date he had joined. So maybe he shouldn't. I could stand corrected. Maybe after 1997, I've seen God and I've changed it and he
Jesus save my soul.
And he says, I'm sorry, I signed that and I renounced it. I renounced all my associations with the Socialist Party. He did that, right, Tom?
Not that I know of. Yes, the president, when he wasn't president, when he was just a radical Marxist,
community
radical
organizer.
Activist, actually joined a party that was a socialist party. It's one more step from socialism to Marxism, but let's just see if we can save the republic. I think our tagline,
butter and margarine, is what it is, Tom.
I think our tagline for Trento Vision is mobilizing activists, saving America. How's that? Mobilizing activists, saving America. That's what we're doing here. And the way to save America is to get it right on the jihad. And we have with us, Skyped in person, our very dear friend who I'll introduce in a second. But our next guest, special guest, has a fascinating theory, hypothesis, based upon the facts on the ground. And I read his article. I said, "You got to come on. Let's discuss this, because this is scary stuff, man. This is scary stuff." So everybody, give a warm Trento Vision welcome to Mark Langfan. Hello, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hello.
Hey, Mark, you got some new maps out, or what's going on?
Oh, I got the maps out, but I got maps, I got graphs, I got whatever we're going to talk about. I've got good stuff.
All right, man.
All right.
Well, let me the short introduction to Mark. He's an attorney up north, and comes down to Florida on occasion. And when he's here, we put him right in that seat where Mark and CJ is as a special guest. And Mark is one of the country's foremost experts on the Middle East, particularly as it comes to the geography and topography of Israel. And these are, what does the ground look like? What are the hills and the valleys and the mountains and the rivers? What does all of that mean in terms of establishing a policy that enables self-defense for a country surrounded by 330 million people with enmity toward you, eternal hatred? What does the land mean? And Mark creates these fascinating 3D and 2D maps that a picture tells 1,000 words. When you look at it, you understand why Israel cannot give back the Golan Heights. When you look at Mark Langfan's map, and you can go to where? marklangfan.com to see
It's
them.
that easy.
Yeah, well, when you look at them, you see why the absurd statement that President Obama made 2 years ago, before he went to AIPAC, where I was sitting 50 feet from him, and said Israel must return to the green lines to consider peace negotiations, you go, well, why don't you just give them the key to Jerusalem? Give them the whole thing when you look at some of this nonsense. But what Mark just did, he proposed a theory that because of what has occurred in Iraq with the Sunni citizens versus the Shia citizens in Iraq, the Sunnis now have initiated a jihad against the Shias. As if the world isn't crazy enough, Mark Langfan. What the hell is going on?
All right, I'll make it simple for you.
Okay.
All right, please do.
Okay.
Because I'm a simple person.
I'm a simple person. If you look back 4 years or 5 years, and you'd say, who in the past 25 years to 30 years had been the if you have Israel as an ally of the United States, what other two countries would you say were allies? Now, I'm not saying they're wonderful countries, but if you just look at it, you'd say, well, Saudi Arabia and Egypt. Now, I'm not here to say Saudi Arabia is a wonderful place. Not at all. But they were our allies. And Egypt, for what it was worth, was also our ally.
Yes.
Now, that was for 25, 30 years.
Right.
Okay? Now, I'm going to read you what I believe is the most fundamental speech ever given by Barack Obama. And he gave this speech in 2002, before he was ever a senator. But before there was ever a glimpse that he would be president.
Right.
Just a state senator from Illinois. 2002. Remember, this is 9/11 happens in 2002. Okay, this is Barack Obama. He basically, it's his famous Iraq speech.
Okay.
Where he's saying, we might not like Saddam, and he's a bad guy, but we shouldn't go and off him. Okay. But this is the key part of his speech that bears instantly on the past 4 years and instantly on where we are today. And in this speech, he's explaining who the true enemies of America are.
Okay.
And he says, you want to fight President Bush? Let's fight to make sure our so-called allies in the Middle East, the Saudis and the Egyptians, check that, not Iranians and Syrians,
right?
Saudis and Egyptians, stop oppressing their people, suppressing dissent, tolerating corruption, inequality, and mismanaging their economies, so their youth grow up without education, without prospects, and without hope. Now, I posit to you that that statement is at its core the entire Obama doctrine.
Agreed, 100%.
In that
I'm finished.
Stripping away what he has done without going to Congress, without explaining to the world, he has turned our entire Middle East policy on its absolute head. Instead of supporting Mubarak and supporting Saudi Arabia, they're not perfect. He has done the exact opposite. He has empowered, he's toppled Mubarak, and he's absolutely empowered Iran to the point where he took every single U.S. troop out of that country and essentially gave the entire Iraq, with its billions and gajillions of sovereign oil money, to Iran. In fact, little known fact that Iraq, off the top of its sovereign account, had sent to Syria about $2 to $4 billion worth of its sovereign account. So we are in an absolute topsy-turvy world where Obama has empowered Iran, empowered the Muslim Brotherhood, and really betrayed all of our longtime allies, and of course including Israel. So now, this is the map of Israel, but that's not what I'm going to show you guys today.
All right, hang on one second, Mark. Let me tell everybody what we're doing here. This is Tom Trento hosting TrentoVision.tv on the video side. If you're watching at home or if you're watching in your automobile, what are you doing watching in your automobile? Get your eyes back on the road. You can listen in your automobile at 1470 AM on the dial, or iHeartRadio. You should only be watching if you're flying in an airplane, or if you're at home. If you're watching, you see Mark Langfand starting to give us an analysis of what's going on in the Middle East. But in particular, we're going to look at Iraq. If you'd like to get into the conversation with Mark Langfand from up north, Mark Campbell with me right here, Tom Trento, CJ's on assignment. Mike is over there on the computer.
Send my love to CJ.
We will, absolutely. 888-565-1470, 888-565-1470 to join the conversation. Or you can jump in on the chat line online, and you can add your comments in a written sense. Okay, Mark, tell us about Iraq.
Okay, well, before we get to Iraq, let's really talk about the 900-pound gorilla in the room, Iran. And what evidence am I putting forward to show that Obama has empowered Iran and disempowered Saudi Arabia? Okay? Mm-hmm. In front of me, or back of me, I've got this little map. Not a map, it's a graph. And I call it my Section 721 graph. Now, what is Section 721? It is one of the greatest, most important sections in the entire United States Code, which requires the CIA every year to deliver to the Congress an open source bookkeeping of the WM. Have some transparency. Even though, believe it or not, the Congress is now trying to repeal the section that would require the CIA to release these, and I'll show you why. This is the CIA's numbers. This is not Mark Langfand's numbers. When Obama came into office, there was, over here you can see zero enriched uranium in the hands of Iran. Mm-hmm. Zero. In the 4 years since Obama has been in office, we went from 0 to 5,000 kilograms of U-235, enriched U-235, which, when you translate that down, is worth 4 to 5 nuclear bombs. So, Saudi Arabia sees this every bit as much as we see it. Now, could you imagine going from 0 to 5 bombs worth of uranium? And do you hear a single peep out of this administration that there's a crisis?
And 500 kilograms, just for our audience.
5,000 kilograms.
5,000 kilograms for our audience is about a half a ton.
Right.
Okay, just to put this in the context, a half a ton.
It's a half a ton. It's a half a ton of 3.8% U-235, which you just multiply 4% essentially times 5,000 kilograms, and you get 200 kilograms of your U-235,
oh, God.
which is worth about 4 to 5 bombs, because a bomb has about 45 kilograms of U-235. That's all you need. So the key point here is, without any red lines, with no crisis that has emanated from the White House, we've gone from 0 bombs to being basically 2 months away from 4 or 5 bombs.
All right, Mark, hang on 1 second. Well, you got 5,000 kilograms, 2.2 pounds a kilogram, 11,000 pounds of junk. When you boil it all down, you get a couple of 100 pounds of bomb stuff, 45 kilos, about 90 to 100 pounds of 235 or 238. What does it turn into?
235.
235.
235 is the good one.
All right, so you got
238, because this is a very important thing for your listeners to understand. When they talk about enriched uranium, what they're talking about is, it's almost like a gold bar, where part of the gold bar has one isotope of gold.
Okay.
And the other part of the gold bar has another isotope of gold. But we don't care when you have gold if it's in one isotope or the other isotope. And the only thing that isotope means is it has 1 or 2 or 3 more neutrons.
It's still going to kill you.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Hang on, Mark. Hang on. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Mr. Science, where Mark Langfang is going to teach us. This is great stuff. I got a caller that wants to talk to you, too, in a second. So finish your thought, then I'll let you talk to a caller.
The difference is, when you have uranium, in its natural state, the bomb-making isotope is very, very, very small percentage of what makes up the uranium.
Right.
So when you have 3.8% U-235, you have 96.2% U-238. It's still all uranium. It's just the part of the uranium that's the good stuff for the bomb. So as you go up in enrichment, what you're doing is it's still all uranium.
Right.
The only difference is it's a higher percentage of uranium that's the 235 isotope.
All right, so to simplify this for the listeners, not that our audience is simple, but this is some heady stuff. In the 4 years that President Obama has been in office, the Iranians have had a field day making stuff that can fry the earth for 10,000, 30,000, 40,000 years. Let me bring on a caller for you, Mark. Pat, are you with us? Hi, Pat. You're with Tom and Mark. And Mark, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You got a question for Mark?
I have 2 questions. First question is, from the way you posed that statement, I'm assuming you're saying that Iran got nuclear capacity in the 4 years of President Obama. What could President Obama or should President Obama have done to prevent that?
Did you hear that, Mark?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Good, great question, Pat.
There are a lot of things that he could have done to prevent it. Really, the first and foremost is not having given Iran Iraq.
Right.
Okay? That is perhaps the greatest catastrophe that has ever occurred in American history, and we don't even understand. The world does not even understand what happened yet. What happened?
So how could that have prevented it? How could him not giving Iran Iraq, as you put it, how could that have prevented Iran from getting nuclear capability?
Because what Iran is doing is essentially leveraging Iraq to bolster its economic position and its hegemonic position in the arc that goes from Iran, Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon. And so to begin with, he has bolstered or failed to topple the very and empowered people like al-Maliki, who are handmaidens of Iran. So the first thing you do is you don't just have a policy of sanctions. You have a policy of actual isolation, physical and tactical and strategic isolation. Instead, he has empowered financially Iran.
Okay, that don't make sense to me, but here's the question for you real quick. The second question is, wouldn't the United States be in a better position to stop Iran from getting the weapons had the Bush administration not invaded Iraq on false intelligence?
Okay. That is an excellent question, and that is perhaps the heart of the matter, in that there's really two parts to the Iraqi invasion. And the Republicans, in fact, have lost two elections. They lost the first Obama and the second Obama election on the Bush catastrophic era in Iraq. And then really there's two parts to the Iraqi invasion. One is taking out Saddam Hussein. Okay? That's one thing. But what Bush did was really something far greater than just taking out Saddam Hussein. He took out the entire power structure of Iraq, and in fact began this real cataclysmic shift from a Sunni paradigm to what's really a Shia paradigm. But having even said that, and having even said that Bush made this mistake, there's one mistake in having done what Bush did, but then there's the separate mistake, an additional mistake, of compounding the era and empowering people like al-Maliki to be a new Shia dictator when there were other elements in Iraq like Alawi and Sistani that, quite frankly, are not handmaidens and puppets of Iran.
Well, let me just make one statement. I appreciate you giving me the time to ask these questions.
Sure, yeah, no. Go ahead, Pat.
Well, yeah, I want to ask Pat a question here in a minute, too.
Sure.
The statement I'll make is, it's easy to do Monday morning quarterbacking with everything, even with the Bush administration.
No.
Let him finish.
No, we were saying it at the time.
I wrote about this in 2006, babe.
Yeah.
I'm not Monday morning quarterbacking.
My only point is, this is my only point. My only point is, it's easy for you to say now, yeah, well, Bush did this wrong and did that wrong, when I could basically say he should have never invaded Iraq. And it's easy for you to say now, with everything that Obama had on his plate when he came in office to clean up after Bush, for you to say that Obama let this and that happen. I just think that you're doing a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking with all this other stuff, and this president has been a great president for this country.
Oh, no. I got one better for you. This president just let Assad murder 60,000 people and hasn't lifted a finger, okay? That is a stain on the United States that this president has watched 60,000 Muslims be mowed down by an Iranian puppet.
Again, what
Wait, I'm not, no, not again. This is not Monday morning quarterbacking, man.
And taking all of our
No, hold a second. With all due respect, this is not Monday morning quarterbacking. I wrote about this 15 months